At customary time. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Welcome to Voices in the Wilderness, a 13th Age adventure. I am your host, Dan, and I've changed the intro for a reason I can't comprehend. When we last left our heroes, they were preparing for a diplomatic summit. They had split into two groups, one of which talking to Casey the Bandit Queen, the other headed to the Imperial Library. Bandit Queen team, would you like to recap what happened there?
Well, we went to Casey with the intention of extending Commander Lockhart's offer for a seat at the discussion table, and actually it went over pretty smoothly. She accepted the offer, with the one exception that we need to help her smuggle in a device that she believes would be able to destroy the shards of prophecy.
Excellent. And library team, why are you headed to the library?
To learn more about how to kill the Satan. No, we were going to talk with Florentine. She had basically agreed to give us less restricted access to the library after helping her out with the grafting lab. Hunhouse specifically wants to investigate a ritual that he's been trying to find the parts of, having found one half in Granite Ostrom, and now looking for the other half here in the Imperial Library, that could potentially end the demon threat for good.
I'm back. I have caffeine. All is well.
All right. Having fun isn't hard when you have a library card.
Yes.
All right.
I think so. We're going to the library part now.
Yes. Malkesh, Hunhau, Carnifex.
Yeah.
You are joined by Amwa and Arter. You are outside your little house in the Wizarding District. What do you do?
I mean, we go to the library?
Yeah. We travel west, where we're eaten by an...
Yeah, eaten by a grill.
You are standing west of a White House.
Welcome to today's puzzle. Can you figure out Twin Lakes public transit system?
Oh, God.
Time for a skill challenge.
I'll take the physical challenge.
No, it's not hard to get there. You've gone there before. You've made this trek across the city, and it is a nice day. It's when you were here last time, kind of the celebrations were a little moderate. It was still kind of festival time, but now it's clear that it's just kicked into high gear. The streets are decorated, stalls are up, people are celebrating. The mood is high right now. And as you're walking, Arter will look at Carnifex and then go, "Is that my sword?"
No, it's mine.
No, it looks quite a bit like my sword.
Weird.
Hunhau's going to shoot a confused glance towards Malkesh.
Malkesh just shakes his head. Walks over to Arthur, just kind of puts his hand on his metallic shoulder and goes, might not be the best time to discuss this.
And I'm pretty sure that's my sword. did ask you if you could get my sword back, and I mean, unless have they been making replicas? I guess that would make sense if I think through it.
Oh, you were pretty popular afterwards.
As you walk by a statue of human form Arthur Delahan,
Does
he
does the statue have a sword that looks like the sword?
identical.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a statue of him holding the sword in the air, like Star Wars cover style.
That is remarkably similar, yes.
Remarkably is one word to describe how similar they are. Wow.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but what's so special about a sword anyway?
Not
Oh.
saying anything. I'm just walking towards the library, letting them talk.
it's the same as any true magic item. It's attuned to the person it's intended for, so. Well,
You're not quite you anymore either.
that could be correct.
I had to fight a ghost. It's mine now.
You had to fight a ghost?
Okay.
Wait, so that was his sword originally?
I fought his ghost. It's mine now. At
It's-
least that's what not me, the player, I think, happened. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct. You kinda. Okay, you fought my ghost, and
Found
that
the sword.
is my sword.
We went back in time, fought demons with you, and then I came back.
Right, okay, And then it's... Oh, no, now I do remember those strange people that appeared.
Yeah, I was one of them.
You went back in time?
Yeah.
Well, it's... Arthur
Well, I
thinks.
was-
It's not so much as they went back in time, as if their consciousnesses were kind of summoned back to occupy some placeholder bodies, as that altered the timeline, and it was... Look,
It was easier when you just said they went back in time.
Yes, that has just only made things a little more complicated to understand.
Look, I know it sounds like a plot written by somebody who didn't know exactly what they were doing at the time, but that's how it'll get explained it to me. You, by using your consciousness, it altered the timeline in a way that the demons couldn't predict your actions.
Huh.
That's new to me.
I had to talk to a younger version of myself. It was weird. I never want to do that again.
Understandable.
All of that just sounds very strange.
And Arthur looks up. Oh! My, this building's much larger. And you see, you are in front of the Imperial Library and its massive majesty, along with the fact that it does have the Imperial Retreat perched on top of it. Well, I suppose we'll go through our business and then we can talk about the sword.
Marcus just kind of leans over quietly and says, "You might want to at least wait until you have full muscles back."
Oh, now I was just kind of staring up at the Imperial Retreat for a long moment.
You see kind of an interesting situation. You recognize what the Imperial Retreat is, built on a small, naturally occurring flying island. Something that is more to do with kind of the mineral composition or metamagical nature of the sky versus this continent you are on, which is held up by a grand spell cast by the Lich King. It's also completely what looks like rigged with machinery that you at least can guess makes it capable of propulsion. Doesn't look like it would move very fast, but it looks like they would have some control over its drift.
Malkesh lets out a low whistle. Lissy would probably understand that. That just looks fancy to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust Lissy to run rampant on that, though. I don't want to know what she'd build with all of those things.
No, it's already a ship in a sense. I don't think she'd change much. I think she'd just be
Damn.
curious how it works.
I don't know. She has a habit of finding spare parts wherever she goes.
Yeah, she's lovely, isn't she?
Hanao kind of looks down from the island at Malkesh and just stares at...
Where's that ritual you were looking for?
Hanao narrows his eyes and then just breaks out into a big smile. And goes
Am I-
ahead inside the library.
And as you enter, you just see Arthur looking back around. Am I spare parts?
You were. You're not anymore.
And, this is still quite a bit to take in.
Yeah, but I mean, you're pretty fantastic, honestly.
And as you enter, you will notice that the security here is much greater than the last time you were here. Possibly because the last time you were here there was an attack, but also because of the presence of the Imperial Retreat. You see not only probably some of the bulkiest, toughest looking mage knights of the library you've seen, but also roaming squads of Imperial Guard.
I could take him.
Why do
Let's-
we need to take them?
Yeah, let's not unless we have to. I don't doubt that you could. But it's unnecessary right now.
Like, Florentine is really annoying to deal with when she's happy with us. I really don't want to piss her off again.
I mean, not piss her off at least until she deserves it.
Right.
Or maybe it's funny.
It's always
Of
funny.
course, yeah.
No, if it inconveniences us as much as it does her, then it's not as funny anymore.
Oh, maybe not for you.
You'd be just as inconvenienced.
That doesn't seem like much of thoughts of a team player there, Cartifex.
He hasn't had his coffee today. He's grumpy. Neither have I. It's my first cup for the day.
Method acting.
So, these guards, do they have shields? What's the
Um,
general... Are they blocking entrance?
They seem to be kind of challenging entrances and ways, but it's not hard for just in kind of the basic outer layers. Nobody's really blocking you, mainly because Carnifex is with you. He is a commander in a different branch, but still a branch of the Imperial military. But when it comes to what look like the upper areas of the library, just the more kind of meeting areas and discussion areas, as well as where you know that that kind of the well, let's just say the area where the Imperial kind of Senate or House would meet of the different settlements across the Empire. That area is pretty much more blocked off, but nobody's preventing you from getting to that main desk.
Well, let's go to the main desk and ask to see Florentine.
Right, you see the same person you dealt with last time.
Oh! Hey, it's,
Don't look at me, I wasn't here
You!
last time.
No! Look at you, you're the traveling researchers. You were applying for the grant, correct?
Yes! Yes, we were. Wait. Hanao pauses to think, well, that was,
That was me.
that was, Ferris's cover to get us in. Hanao, now remembering the lie, is like, yeah, we're here to see Florentine?
Oh yes. It's clearly she's very, very busy with the retreat attached. Do you have an appointment?
No, but she'll probably want to see us before we cause trouble.
Can I at least have a name then?
Hanao? Hanao.
Hunhao. Oh, Hunhao. If and your companion, would you be Malkesh?
Makash kind of jumps up and waves his hand over the top of the desk.
And two small ones. So he looks to Arthur. You must be Lissy then? And Arthur shrugs. He's just like, good enough.
Lissy's not with us at the moment.
Oh. All right.
This is our research assistant, Arthur.
Arthur.
Yes. With an H.
Yes. I enjoy reading books at the library. The Warforged desk clerk kind of looks. All right, that's certainly a statement. Yes, no, it's funnily enough, it does have the note. If you appear, send you right up right away before you cause trouble.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Makash just kind of nods.
We don't exactly have the other resources to spare right now, so I'm going to have to trust. I mean, you have a member of the Crusade with you. That counts as armed escort.
Yes, it does.
And you once again walk through the path of the library, though you see, in general, it looks like most of the research has been cleared out and is now more different meeting rooms, different people, different area set up from imperial dignitaries from different parts of the land. You still walk by that massive model of the Indomitable Dream, the capital ship. And there's a few people kind of crowded around looking at it, just going like, "Oh yes, this is a jewel of the Imperial Air Force." Until you eventually come and step into Florentine's office, overlooking the lake. And she is there waiting for you. Okay, come in. Look, I've already answered enough questions about when the timing of... Oh, it's you. Close the door, come in.
You'll be pleased to know we didn't cause any trouble on our way in, Hanao says as he closes the door.
Makash goes over and hops on a stool. Not yet, anyway.
All right, fine. Just... Look, you have to understand that things are a bit tense here. There's all sorts of people I have to deal with in a very finely tuned space. Everybody likes to poke and prod at things. Which is what you're here to do, but I said I would help.
Well, just poke and prod at one thing, the ritual I've been looking for.
Yes.
Can
Can I
hear me now?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You're getting good at recognizing it, though.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're back with the Crusade member. Hello again.
Someone has to make sure they don't get in trouble, and apparently that was me.
Well, I would have preferred somebody from the library, but you'll do. And you've got a frog folk.
That's Arthur. He's a friend of ours.
And what does he do?
He does
He
frog
likes to
things.
read books in the library.
Yes, I'm a research assistant for, and Florentine just shakes it. I don't believe anything that they say, so that just tell me straight up. And I'm good at fighting.
Hunhow's face is buried so far into his hand it may never come out.
We made him have spare parts and some goo. Just nods like that makes perfect sense.
Wait. You made him.
Not well constructed.
We craterized a laboratory dedicated to making people.
No, not like that.
And you
He's not biological.
Oh, fair. Okay, so it was just inspired by, based on a true story. Okay, it's
Not really. We kind of went a different route, but Yeah, no, nothing like that, please.
I wasn't there.
Unfortunately, it was more of a Lissy and Malkesh joint project.
Turned out pretty well, don't you think?
Speaking of which, is she here?
I think she's still resting.
That's probably for the best. Excellent. So I have taken the liberty, and she steps forward and walks to one of the filing cabinets and takes out a stack of paper and then just hands it to Hunhow. I have assembled some leads.
Hunhow's eyes light up like a kid on Christmas.
These are everything that's not just duplicate copies of things that you'd be able to find. And a lot of the restricted areas are just the originals versus the replications we put out for public consumption.
Excellent.
Is Malkesh just spinning around on that chair?
Yes.
You just hear like a low squeak in the background, and she looks up. Stop that! Stop it!
Oh, sorry. These things are just fun.
Are you going to need these back soon? Because I'd like to go over them very thoroughly. But if there's late fees, I can work fast.
You're researching a ritual that potentially could save this world. I'm not going to nickel and dime you out of $350.
About tree fitty.
About 3, and that's when we noticed that Florentine was actually about 2 stories tall. Came from. Oh god. Oh, I'm done.
I'm gonna need a moment.
What's worse is it's tree fitty, so it's obviously the wood elf currency.
Fuck! $1 birch, y'all.
Oh, please stop, it hurts. Okay,
All right.
I've recovered. Those are some good puns, people.
She grabs like a series of kind of little amulets from her desk and then hands them out to each and every one of you. These are the passes that would let you into the restricted areas. In the interest of being honest this time, yes, I am tracking them.
Well, that just seems prudent.
Because I'm assuming you're gonna need these back.
Well, if you want to hold on to an amulet that lets me track you until you're done here, I would love that personally.
The worst part is I'm just imagining her giving the one to Malkesh and it's just attached to a giant 2x4.
Hanao kind of slips the amulet on over his neck and starts rifling through the top layer of files, listening to what Florentine has to say, but clearly much more interested in the paperwork he's got in hand.
Alright, well, I guess we got a lot of digging to do, and you seem like you're up to your horns in dignitaries, so I guess we'll go then.
I would come if I could. The restricted area is one of the only places free from every other faction in the Empire right now. But I'm sure somebody is just about to knock on my door. And somebody knocks on her door.
That's impressive.
Truly, it is.
It's very good timing. Arda's like, I also agree.
It was okay.
She opens the door and lets an intern in. It's like, oh, okay, excellent. These are some of the mock-ups from the Air Force, so I have to look over these. Go, have fun, enjoy demon stuff.
Hanao will be the first out the door.
All right. You walk through the library until you encounter a door that's very well sealed, guarded by mage knights. And they see the amulets and they stand back, open it for you, let you pass. And you go into a more quiet area of the library. You see a lot of desks set up for study. You see, you just see a large, hall. What in past days may have been filled with monks just copying manuscripts endlessly. And you know that this is the room directly below the kind of imperial house above. This is practically right at the center of the library. And in the center of the room, you see a dais that has an indentation that looks like those amulets could go into it.
Okay, who's gonna be the first curious enough to stick their amulet in the dais?
I will.
Malkesh? Oh, no, never mind.
Carnifex, you walk up to the dais, kind of just in the center of a circular piece of tiled floor. And as you put it in, near the edge of the circle, some of the ground separates and spreads out. And a railing emerges from around the circle. And you are on an elevator.
Oh, sweet.
Oh god. PTSD.
Roll for sanity.
Keep your limbs inside the ride.
You pretty much see, as you put it in, that dais lights up with different ways with different areas that you can go down to, but you only see so many of these small orbs have kind of activated.
So even with these, there's only certain places we can go.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Anything I would find interesting? I mean, part of my reason for being here was to snoop around and see anything that might be important to the Crusader army.
The fact that this is an access point to kind of the library basement and more restricted areas is somewhat significant, but this is more this room is... There's nothing here that, the Crusader wouldn't know. This would be a room that somebody high up enough in the Crusade would have access to.
In any of the lit up ones, are they labeled? Or?
Nothing is labeled. This seems like an interface that's designed to only be used by people who are aware of it.
Alrighty. Are you guys staying here or what?
Has it already descended, or just the railing popped up?
Railing popped up. I haven't hit.
It has, just the railing popped up, and there's a little bit of a gap around the edge.
Alright, I guess Melkesh hops on, puts his on the thing, and kind of leans back against the rail.
Hunhow will hop on, kind of look again towards the top layer notes to see if there's, of those leads, where they should get started, and if there's any indication on how to operate the machine.
Yeah, no, you see right on the top of it is an image of the kind of center of the dais. And you pretty much see sealed records 1 and 2 correspond to the lit up orbs, and the rest, the other labels seem kind of blacked out, or at least not labeled.
Ooh, those look exciting.
And Arter also, by the way, he effortlessly hops on because
of course.
Shit.
Because frog joke.
But
No. Sealed records 1 it is.
good place to start.
Pushes, I guess, tries to push the orb or whatever, see if that does anything.
Yeah, you press the orb and you start descending. And as you go down, you see, as you move, little lights in the wall will come up with you. Everything starts to look less like that room above, which is a very ancient, very historical room. And you enter kind of a more modern, more recently built part of the library. And you enter cramped hallways below as you see the light. After a longer than you would think ride, but not, say, going deep underground or deep under the sea in Grand Nostrum. And lights up to cramped hallways. And Florentine has made a few suggestions of places to go, but other than the occasional, you will see a mage knight patrolling the halls, who kind of eyes your amulets before moving on. And Cartifex, as kind of a member of the military, you can recognize that these hold some rank. And it's perhaps the weird thing where, kind of the reputation of the mage knights versus the crusade, or they're a little obsessive about protecting secrets and things like that. So where many higher ranked, more trustworthy military members, and say the crusader, would see guard duty as kind of a punishment. To get this,
a sacred duty or something, yeah.
Yeah, or even just to get time spent down here. You've heard rumors that the reward for kind of doing this is you get to do research in these record halls. All right, what do you do?
Well, Hunhow's gonna go down the list of suggestions from Florentine and see if from them he can sort of set up a a nice route, something that they're not gonna be doubling back constantly with all the cramped hallways. Basically map out a path to maximize their time.
Well, we could split up.
Search for clues.
That's not a bad idea either. Here, Malkesh. Here's some notes on what to be looking for from Florentine.
Alright.
Carnifex, here's yours. Meet back here in an hour. Oh, and if
His
you
handwriting is sickeningly organized.
I know, it's a little frightening. But if you see anything on my people, the Wood Elves, bring it back if you would. I'd be interested in it. They do seem to have a deep connection with this topic. One I'd like to understand as best I can.
Is this related to the ritual or just personal curiosity?
Both. Both for sure.
Do you mind if I call a friend?
I'm sorry? Oh, that friend?
No. I don't know if you've met this friend. Good guy, short, former known.
What? How do you? What's a former?
Don't worry about it. He'll help me. We'll be able to find stuff quicker. I think he's been here before.
Well, if it's not that friend, then yes,
No,
I don't
think
mind.
he'd be much. I mean, yeah, because he's always useful. But no, I know that's not what I'm talking about.
No,
And Bruno wouldn't really be much use.
no. Although he could help you carry things if you find something particularly hefty.
True, but there are carts, aren't there? He kind of starts looking around. Libraries usually have carts. Are there carts here?
Yeah, no, it's not too hard to find carts or useful things for doing research. This is you get the feeling of this floor that they have not squirreled away their secrets, that there are people working here.
Right.
If it hadn't been so busy up above on the surface, this record room these halls may actually be busier than they are right now. It's actually a very, very good time for you two.
So, Amboise, Arthur, who are you going with?
Well, you're gonna have some help. So, perhaps I'll go with Carnifex. We seem to have similar backgrounds. I haven't really met him yet, so might be a chance to get to know each other.
I'm guessing that's Arthur.
That is Arthur.
Now kind of flinches. Sure, if you want to get to know him.
I think he was just trying to soften me up to get his sword back. And then he turns around and starts going to the place on the papers.
Alright, and Arthur kind of hops along behind. And Amboise, well, I suppose that leaves me to come with you, Hunhow.
Don't sound too excited.
No, it's... I didn't mean to offend there.
Oh, I was mostly teasing. I'm just excited to get into some of these books.
Speaking of annoying cats, 1 second. Sam?
Alright. So, you all go off in different directions. Who wants to kind of see what they find first?
Me!
Alright.
Because I have ulterior motives of also trying to search for stuff that I want.
Alright. Arthur follows along, and that actually comes with... And he's going behind. It's like, so you're one of the ones they changed to our side, right?
I don't know if I was changed or... My memory of the time is a bit fuzzy. I think I persuaded myself.
You think you persuaded yourself?
The time travel thing.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like an expert, but that time dilation thing confuses me as well too. I was more about bringing people together and swinging a sword really, really well.
That has been my motive for a very long time as well. I've had to learn to broaden my horizons ever so slightly in the past while. But try.
It was, to be fair, when myself and we ventured into the Red World once. And it was there we tried to rescue numerous people who we believed had been captured. It was one of our desperate but daring attempts to turn the tide of the war, and from bringing those back, that's when we started to figure out how our people were being distorted. I have to say, your kind, yours that came back to the light, did help us win many battles.
He honestly doesn't know what to say. It's just like, first time someone's talking about him more than like, a useful thing or, like I think the only other person that probably talked to him this way was it Reinhardt?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Look, I think that's the room they're sending us towards. And you see the room. And kind of based on your notes, could you give me a check to try to find what Hunhao kind of sent you to find?
Oh, okay. I'm guessing this will be intelligence.
Yeah, this is intelligence.
Hey, crap. Whoop. I mean, looking over my just intelligence or background as well.
Everything's a background check. Welcome back. So intelligence background level.
I'm gonna say special forces is the only background I have that would. Just because
you've spent a lot of time filing paperwork over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, that and I mean a lot of training. It's not all swinging a sword. A lot of it is classroom work and study and theoretical stuff. I mean,
all right.
I myself in my training have had to do a lot of classroom stuff, so I'm guessing.
And that's what separates a lot of the people in the Crusade from the Mage Knights. The Mage Knights seem to enjoy that shit. All right, give me a roll.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's different.
Yeah, it'll give you a pop-up if you just click through with 0. Wait, 22. You find some of the things that Hunhao had sent you to find.
Yeah.
You think that you might be able to find a few more with time, but that won't give you much time to poke around.
Well, I found did I find a good chunk of it?
You found a decent amount. Nobody would be disappointed with what you brought back.
Cool. Then I'm gonna find my own stuff too, because I mean, I never said I would help. I said I was coming along. I had my own reasons, so
All right.
I helped. So now
What?
I'm going to do my own thing.
What interesting thing did you find, or what are you looking for?
What was it? It was just any notes or any information they had on, I guess, research projects or stuff they're inventing or experimenting on that could possibly help, or, you know, maybe even if they're political game, hinder the crusade that they're keeping to themselves. Anything, you know, what we said last time is he's here to try and find anything that to know what's going on, because as you said, they like keeping their secrets, and that made the Crusader army a bit.
All right, so you're just essentially trying to luck on to something.
Basically, if he can find, like, basically looking for some sort of threads to grasp that'll hopefully lead him down a path to find something more substantial.
All right. Let's see. And are you going to do this just by kind of wandering the halls, or are you going to... Because this room seems pretty dedicated to... The room Hunhouse sent you to was just kind of demon combat methods, and that seems to be what every book in this is about.
You know what? I'm going to try and talk someone into helping me out.
All right. You eventually a large armored man will kind of enter and then kind of check up on you and nod when he sees your amulet, and he is about to leave.
So just be one moment there. I have a quick question here.
All right, Crusader. What do you need?
And so again, this is me as a player being horrible with speaking. But okay, I just saw the chat. Dewey Decimal System. Thanks a lot, guys. Jeez. Basically, a roundabout way of asking for what he wants. Like, basically anything. I can't speak. I am not caffeinated enough for this. Shit. I am horrible at this. It's been 5 months. Sorry.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Rusty. Can I do a roll and try just a general?
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
So what information are you trying to get out of him? Just
like an area to start looking, or even any sort of hints or rumors he might have heard. Because I mean, it's going to be hard because, as you said, they pride themselves on secrecy. So it's a way of asking without asking.
Okay, so you're trying to be more trick him into giving up information than you are leaning on him or trying to buddy up. All right, yeah, give me a charisma roll for that.
Okay, again, special forces, because interrogation techniques like that would be something they're taught.
All right, roll them bones.
Charisma. 33.
That's pretty fucking good. You get him talking and yammering, and you seem... The one thing that you know is, despite the fact that a lot of the outside, sometimes they just being a part, like wearing kind of the red and black of the Crusade, can strike some fear into people, but the other branches of the Imperial military while they wouldn't want to do it themselves, and even some outright question the tactics, they all respect the Crusade's result and resolve. So it's pretty easy to strike up a conversation with him. And the one thing he lets slip is that only the first 3 or so floors are kind of research, and he catches them before he goes into what's below them, or very, very deep below. But there is information about secret projects on the 4th floor, and something, and perhaps even projects themselves on the 5th. You can get kind of the layout of this basement from him, but he's good enough not to let anything that exists there slip.
And I am smart enough not to pry, not to become too suspicious. And, just thank him for his time, and I'm going back to do research.
All right. Melkesh,
Yes, sir.
what's your strategy here?
Like all things Malkesh, it's kind of a haphazard line, but first, he's going to pull some bone ash out of a pocket and kind of cast it in the air as he tries to contact Sweetroot.
And just like that, are you kind of using your use of this?
Yes.
I know I haven't properly written the magic item yet, so...
Yes, he's actually using it since Bruno is reconstructing.
Yeah. And as kind of the shimmer of the bone ash comes down, you see the ghostly outline of a gnome smoking a long, long pipe with Sweetroot's big beard down past his belly that still has little bits of flowers and twigs in it. Ah, Melkesh, old boy, how are you?
I'm good. I need help.
No. Oh, well, I said I would help. I was just exploring the gardens of Granite Nostrum. Oh, they've wreck of a city right now, but I'm glad they survived.
Yeah, the city wasn't great shape when I saw it last, but I wasn't there very long, so hard to really say. Glad you found the gardens, though. I'm actually in the restricted stacks for the Imperial Library.
Oh, he looks around. Oh, well. By the shining dragon behind. Yes it is. It's been a long time since I've been here, Melkesh. Did some work.
I was kind of hoping you might know your way around here a little better than I do.
Oh, well, at least what they let me at. I never was a proper member of the library, but when it came to researching some, well, there was. Let's see. Yes, there was. They were looking at more potent herbal methods for healing for the military, but want to get across some of their addictive properties. And then when that addictive property spread across, they were looking at something to help wean a lot of the soldiers off of it. So I did some contract work here. What are you looking for, old boy?
He kind of pulls up the notes and he starts reading through them and just starts reading off like the label of recommendations of areas to start looking. It's something about a ritual. I'm still kind of new to rituals, so...
Oh, yes, this is... He looks at it. Yeah, no, I know where to find this exactly. It's just past there on the... This is in the area mostly dedicated to restricted or outright banned forms of magic.
Yeah, we're looking into something that could potentially end the war with the demons.
Well, that would
probably pretty powerful.
Yes, that's quite a spell. Really rattled the roots of the world tree.
Yeah, we're also looking for any information relating to the wood elves, apparently, too.
I've been thinking about traveling there myself soon. I just don't know how easy it will be for a ghost to catch a ship.
That does sound like it would cause problems.
I'm sure I could find somebody who needs some haunting.
Oh, well,
Sailors, right?
if you're ever in Narohama, we have a place there, you know.
Oh, interesting. Well,
No one to haunt, but, you know, privacy.
I do know you do know I appreciate privacy with the
Too
whole
many fans.
situation. He slaps his knee. Anyway, I'll bring it back here. It's just past. I believe it should be in the area that deals mostly with demonic magic. It's just right past the hall of time-related magic and necromancy.
You don't say. Well then, lead the way, please. And don't skimp on pointing out those sections.
He grabs a cart and he kind of does the thing where he like scoots and then jumps on the back of it and kind of rides it for a little bit.
Hey.
Yep, right there. Those are the other halls. It's just a little further down this way. I've got your notes. And he's kind of going faster than you since he's scooting. I'll get a start on this.
Oh, okay. Malkesh kind of stops at the necromancy aisle. And he kind of looks down it, and he kind of looks down where Sweet Root is. He looks down the necromancy aisle. And I think we can all guess which direction he heads.
All right. What do you find in the Hall of Necromancy?
I don't know. I think he would probably just go for one of the more impressive looking books and open it up.
The first thing you open up, you see the most advanced, detailed, just beautiful drawings. Like, it's the most incredible book you've ever seen on skeletons.
Wow, this would be nice.
But you
Sorry, I had more to say, but my daughter immediately came running into the room. So,
like it was.
like,
I was just like, all right, well, let's move on to the next thing.
No, Malkesh just kind of starts flipping through the page, and kind of like how Lissy goes kind of gaga over skyship parts. This is kind of like Malkesh's bread and butter, and he's just kind of like wishing that they invented photocopiers at this period in time. But he also is intimately aware he doesn't have a whole lot of time, so he kind of appreciates it for what it is, but then kind of puts it back. And
When it comes to the field of necromancy, what's one aspect Malkesh would like to improve in it? If he had the opportunity to jump ahead in some part of that particular magic school, what would most interest him?
well, his specialty has always been soul transfer. Pretty much that's all he's specialized in. Death Knell being the thing that drew him into the art in the first place. And really that's what he's been doing as sort of side jobs for the Lich King anyways, handling souls. So that's probably what he'd be going towards. His attempts at doing more physical constructions have been crude at best, I guess you could say. Bruno is probably his most successful. And then, of course, you know, Bones Beneath, those kind of things are more violent, less refined versions of that. So really anything dealing with spirits or souls would be really his forte.
Yeah, you find a book all about the natures of souls. And some of it seems like theoretical work. Just about, you know, a lot of kind of philosophy and navel gazing about what is the soul, what aspect of it is. There is an interesting passage you read about kind of spells that affect the mind. That necessarily it's not nature of the soul, but something more physical that trigger those spells, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is there any reference to the Soul Hive?
You actually You get as you get to the end of it, you get to like a very theoretical reference to another book called "The Nature of Soul Across Multiple Realities."
Oh my.
And you were able to based on this reference, you probably could find it pretty quickly.
Malkesh kind of writes it down, but it's probably been too much time away from that, so he puts the book back where it came from and heads on over to Sweetroot to see what he's found.
You think you could find the book, you just don't think you'd have time to read it right now.
Okay, well, I guess he can, depending on how big these books are, I guess he could probably take it with him and put it on the cart for later.
Yeah, this is a fair-sized book, and that's mainly why you don't think you could read it now, but you could take it with you.
All right, then he'll do so.
Since you essentially used an item to do this, Sweetroot has found just as much as Carnifex did, and you still have some time left.
All right, I guess we keep searching them, so that would be a check, correct?
No, if you spend your time looking for things, you will find pretty much everything that Florentine recommended.
Okay, we do so.
All right, you have a cart full of books on ritual magic.
And on the way back, he grabs the skeleton book just for looking at later. Not because it's to use, but it's pretty.
Yes.
Hunhao, as you walk through the hallways, you make a realization that may disappoint you a little bit. Just by random chance, you are going to an area that deals a lot with ciphers and ancient languages.
That's not disappointing at all. Hunhao loves the written word. That's why he was so excited to go to the library.
Right. You pretty much walk in and you see just halls and halls of books on languages that have long since disappeared off the continent of Mome. Dictionaries and how-tos and studies and just anything to do with language is in these restricted halls.
Have the notes that Florentine gave us kind of pointed out any specific languages we might want to look out for?
She suggests a few kind of older variations of Elven tongues and human tongues, but particularly there is one book that is about unidentified codes found throughout history.
Well, let's see if we can snatch that up real quick, and then Hunhao's gonna see if he can pick up a book on their Elven language so he can go over it with a red marker and point out all the ways they're wrong.
All right. Do you want to give me a check for that?
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good one.
You find it, and you find your Elven language books. Were you about to say something, Carnifex?
Nope, I was just saying, yeah, that was a decent roll. That was it.
Yeah, you gather up what she's suggested fairly easily, including that book on ancient codes.
1 second, guys. I'll be back in a minute.
And as you're kind of looking through it, Amboise begins laughing.
Something funny?
Oh, this is rich. This entire book is dedicated to deciphering an ancient shorthand.
Your shorthand?
My shorthand.
Ah, that's lucky. Excellent.
This is no. This one would have been the one I used back in the day. Like this is the one that I super encrypted things with. I never even taught Florentine this one.
Well then, I think I have a better resource on hand for deciphering any of it we come across than this book, although I always like bringing these books with me, even if I know the subject matter. It's always fun to see where the research hasn't quite lined up with the fact. That's why I've got this one here.
Ah, ancient Wood Elf languages.
Yes, something I'm a little well read on.
A little bit. You have to understand, especially your branch of... I apologize for that intolerant pun. Your sect of the Wood Elf people, really, it's mostly elven kind that has any knowledge of them.
Oh, I don't blame them for looking at what they've found and perhaps putting together an inaccurate picture. I just like helping put together an accurate picture. Right? It's enjoyable. I'd rather they know what's right than continue with their inaccurate picture.
You're very much committed to higher learning, aren't you?
It was important growing up.
On how I would say I wish I met you in more peaceful times, but if I would have, before I learned the things I did on this journey, I'm not sure you would have liked who you met.
Well, we wouldn't have been the same person either way. This strife has been very much ingrained in all of us. As much as I want to solve it, it did help build who I am to an extent. Same can be said of you, I'm sure.
We've lived a life longer than most of the people we travel with, Hunhow. I have many, many regrets. And I didn't mean I was disappointed. I didn't mean to sound disappointed that I'd be coming with you. I've been enjoying being in the company of my old friend.
I'm sure. There is someone I'd love to spend the company with again, so I can understand the feeling how it would be to be separated from an old friend like that.
I'm glad to hear that. I realize that my guilt over that, what I felt was a personal failing, led me to do. It led me down the wrong path. I'm going to spend whatever is left of this life trying to make up for that. If I'm not being intrusive, what happened to your friend?
She was more than a friend. And as you know, the elves hold the line on the trunk of the tree. And there are casualties in that war.
Yes. I'm sorry to hear that. It's an inevitability when you make those sacrifices to protect the world.
Hunhow kind of goes quiet and just... He's got a small sad smile, but he just nods.
How much do I interrupt other people's business? But for all the guilt I felt, there was one person who took it much more hard than myself. And he and Arthur were also more than just a friend.
Arthur had a... And Hun now kind of trails off.
Yes.
Oh.
He... In the time that has passed, if I made compromises of my ethics, he made compromises of himself. I'm glad that, and oh no, glad is the wrong word. I'm happy that you were able to take such a devastating loss and not build your life on a foundation of revenge.
Hunhow kind of pauses for a long moment, and it's one of those where you can actually sort of see the thought process on his head as he tries to form the words before saying quietly, I didn't have a choice. I had 2 sons, and with their mother dead, there wasn't an option for revenge or hate. They were much more important than that. They still are.
I'm glad you have that anchor.
Truly, I don't know what I'd do without them.
Now, he pauses. What was her name?
Shikik.
Well, even though she's an elf I never met, she's one more person I have to work to make it up to.
Oh. Let's just worry about the living. If we worry about all the... if we worry about disappointing the dead, well then...
Well, that's more my domain than yours.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like we have what we were looking for, and thank you. It's been a long time since I've been able to talk about her.
Good. I'm glad I could do some good for you. And as you turn to the book on Elven language, you realize this one is much better than the one you found in the non-restricted section. Well, that's still not great.
Hunhow's really gonna need that red pen. He's gonna need a lot of red pens.
All right. Gunhild, Ferris.
Hi.
Just taking a long, leisurely stroll back.
You return to the house, and it is now populated with Grand Nostrum dignitaries.
Hello. Can we help you?
We tried to keep the place clean for you guys. So I take it you heard the news.
News, and just kind of the wizard looks. It's like, news about the new child emperor? Or news about an entire destructive weapon that potentially could level a city?
Yeah, you know, 6 of one, half
Yes.
dozen of the other.
Well, then yes, I've heard the news.
So, how many guys you bring along with you? heard that Rixus was coming along.
Yes, he's in there talking with the Dragonic. But it's myself, a small team of dignitaries, as well as a few guards and the crew of the Halcyon.
Oh, well. Happy to have you here.
Are you coming in?
Yeah, I mean, if we can.
Well, yes. This is. You're still here. You're still here on the. Well, under our protection. So come in. And you move into the house, and you see Rixus and Calderak talking.
Hello.
Calderak kind of, his head just turns on a pivot. It's like, oh, Godhild, good to see you. How is your day, sweetie? And he's doing that thing where he's obviously trying not to talk about something.
Good? Is everything alright?
And you just see
I didn't expect to see you here.
You just see Rixus being like, you gain no benefit from keeping this hidden. And Calderak, well, Daddy has some work to do in the diplomatic field.
Okay.
You see, since the Wildlands are now an official ally of Grand Dostrum, Rixus believes they should have a seat at this table as well. And Rixus just, what affects us affects them.
Well, I don't see any harm in that. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I don't quite see what the problem is.
Well, I don't really have a staff here. So, sweetheart, I don't mean to take you away from your adventures and things, but do you think you could maybe be your old pop's entourage to this diplomatic meeting?
Yeah, well, it'd be an honor in a strange way. But
Excellent. Good. I've already got you fitted for a tabard in the proper colors, and it should go right over your armor fine. But we do need to project an image that we're proud and civilized. And Rixus looks to Ferris. He's been going on like this for an hour.
he does that.
Well, he's not lacking for enthusiasm. That's good.
And Rixus kind of scratches his head and looks to Ferris. So
Ferris is already pulling up a seat and having a seat at the table.
So, how goes your adventure? I know that you came here to try to circumvent this from bubbling over into war, and it looks like we've avoided war, but everything could be coming to a head right now. There's a lot of things within the Empire that has to be worked out for this to work.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. We're pretty sure that there's somebody within the Empire actively working against the Empire.
Oh, that's...
Tampering with demon grafting.
Well, it's... As I said to you, it's why I quit the library. It's... Florentine gained more and more power, and her her experiments are more questionable. It's like I couldn't have.
This isn't Florentine.
And he kind of actually looks a bit shocked. What do you mean?
I know, shocker. She definitely had some experiments, questionable ones. Agreed. Not quite this bad. She was the one that pointed us in the direction of.
Really, there's something worse than the avenues she was looking down.
Somehow, yes.
Demon grafting, you say?
Yeah, they had a whole facility for it. It's like they were grafting demon parts to. I couldn't tell if they were willing or unwilling volunteers, but they were trying to create some sort of weapon, super soldier. I'm not sure what, something that could be possibly immune to corruption, but still able to wield the power.
So we have two potential enemies at this table. And he taps his beacon. Though she helped you, but it's for her own gain, you know.
Well, it didn't seem entirely for her own gain. I mean, we did end up benefiting from it, even if maybe that wasn't her intention.
Well,
Look,
listen to me. She wants to win. And I'm sure deep down it is for the good of this land, but I can't speak much, but the avenues she's looking down compromise the freedoms of these people.
You're not wrong. Ferris will kind of pull out, because he had stolen some of the notes that she had taken on the Khmer apes, and kind of lay them out on the table.
Takes a look. And Rixus takes out a pair of readers and puts them on and starts. And you can see his large feathery eyebrows just dart up and down as he reads very, very quickly. This is a pretty powerful control group she's set up.
She's very thorough. Give her that.
She doesn't like complications in her plans. I mean, look at this, and he points to the note. She did account for the fact that they might go berserk and recommended against using them as a weapon for that reason. But also recommended further research into pacifying them and maybe being able to direct their wrath.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can agree with her win at all costs mentality.
neither can I.
And think of the control here. Khmer apes get both, well, they're very, very close to sapient, and they hit 3 or 4 of the major biologies of the most populous sapient races on Mome. This is what I'm warning you against. It may seem like a good idea at the time, and look, it's, as I said, I won't take the moral high ground on playing politics or dirtying my hands. But I do it so Grand Nostrum will be free.
Well, the last time I really spoke to her, I mean, we ended on friendly enough terms, but she certainly didn't discount the idea that we may come head to head again. And I agree with you. I think that she has the best intentions in mind, but her way of going about it is, well, this isn't much better than what we destroyed.
You're not wrong. Now tell me, what plan do you take? What do you plan to get out of this meeting? I want to be able to make sure that we don't get in each other's way.
We have it on good authority that somebody within the Empire, possibly the one who's working against the Empire itself, is using a shard of prophecy.
Okay, well that's disastrous.
So our goal, I suppose, is to either get in touch with this person or stop them.
All right, so I won't see much of your presence at the table then.
What is Granadostrum here for?
The Empire is not in a strong position right now, and neither are the Allied Kingdoms. Admittedly, Granadostrum is not, but the Wildlands are in... They've got a formidable standing army, and they're making rapid progress. With that alliance, I believe I can begin getting the ball rolling on discussions of our full independence.
I mean, are there any concerns that the Wildlands are seen as a threat, or more of as an ally?
They're not an official... Calderak, we've skirmished with the Empire quite a few times. It's the nature of a lot of the border communities of orcs and humans. But, well, Zell is trying to clamp down on that. We want to be seen as a collective nation of people, not a marauding band of greenskins. And you just hear Ochre from in the background. Don't use that word! Sorry, it's my mistake. You wouldn't like it if I called you a lizard? You just hear another voice. Oh, you wouldn't call anybody a lizard, bud. You're too good for that.
If only Nick were here.
Either way, and Rixa says, either way, there's enough pressure now with the Allied Kingdoms and the Empire at tension that having to fight two fronts if they tried to retain Grandadostrum's dependency on the Empire by force is not an appealing option. I don't think I'm going to be able to negotiate our entire exit in this one meeting, but I think I can get the concessions needed to start the ball rolling. And if we're at least in process of being separate, I'm more free to help you weed out whatever corruption you're looking to get rid of.
It seems fair.
Didn't think I'd ever live to see a free and independent Granadostrum. The idea isn't necessarily unappealing.
Well, that brings up the next thing, since you're not at the table, but have been watched and are very, very intimately linked to Granadostrum, and he points to Gunhild, and you, the Wildlands. if you get caught doing something here, you pretty much completely take my legs out from under me.
Well, I guess we better not get caught.
It's always better not to get caught, but I'm just giving you fair warning that there's lots of outcomes here where to save my negotiation and to save my position, I may have to withdraw some of my support. So you do your job well and I'll do mine, and then we won't have to distance from each other.
Well, I'd say there's nothing to worry about, but politics aren't exactly my strongest point.
I mean, would it be better if I also had a seat at the table?
And he looks and he's like, and leave a goblin for a knack with explosives, a half-naked wood elf, a demon in clanking armor, and goddamn Alicia to do a stealth mission. No, you're keeping them quiet, Ferris.
I mean, there are ways for me to be in two places at once.
I think you might have to explain that one to him.
I mean,
Yes.
he's a wizard.
Well, okay, so... And he immediately kind of gets off his chair and then circles around you and looks right to your cloak. I understand, but won't that effectively half your abilities?
Well, possibly. It's further away I get from myself. Seems like the effects get a little bit weaker, but
It's up to you. If you think you can handle two things at once, then you're welcome to sit with Grand Adostrum or with the Wildlands.
once the rest of our friends arrive, we can maybe talk a little bit more about it in detail. But it's always nice to have that option available.
But seriously, you talk with some of the loudest people I've perhaps ever met in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All right, there's work to do. Malkesh, Carnifex, and Hunhow. You're back at the central room.
Have any luck, guys?
I found some.
Ugh, excellent. For the record, Dan, was everything we were looking for on this floor?
There is some suggestions of things on the bottom floor, but in this case, like, Florentine has suggested actual books and titles here. The information she gave you down at the next floor was just clearances and kind of suggestions of places to go and how not to get lost. The next floor is like the heavy stuff.
Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't get into the heavy stuff, now wouldn't we?
But you have a feeling that if everybody kind of pulled their weight, you might have actually a good chance to narrow it down yourself.
I got my own thing to do.
So, you're saying don't split up on the next floor, or we should bring the rest of the party in?
If pool your resources first of what all of you have found, and you might have a little bit more of an efficient time at the next floor.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, alright, everybody. Let's see what y'all have got. I managed to find a book on some of the ciphers that we may be running into, but ultimately it turned out that it may well be completely useless, as we've got a translator. And Hunhao would gesture with a hand towards Amboise.
He puffs up his chest and flaps his wings.
Well, that's goddamn adorable.
I got all the books you asked for. I haven't really gotten to look into them. I had to make a detour really quickly, but we found everything. Oh, this is Sweet Root, by the way.
Hello, friends of Malkesh.
Hello.
Hello, friend.
Ah, Elf of the Tree.
Yes. You know about my people?
Mostly about the plants surrounding your people, but I have heard that. Well, I mean, looking at your dress, it's a bit more traditional. I've only seen somebody dressed like that in Wood Elf festivals when I traveled to the cities amongst the branches.
Well, it's good to see some of those on higher up along the tree still keep some of the traditions alive. Although, probably could use a wardrobe update.
Well, the good news is most people won't recognize what you're going for there, but the bad news is it definitely makes you stand out a little. But not that there's anything wrong with that. Strapping young man, and he smokes his pipe.
Hunhao just kind of smiles. Thank you? But did you find something interesting, Malkesh? Is that why you took a detour?
Further reading, I suppose. I would probably just bore you.
I don't know. I'm quite a fan of books. I always find reading fun, but... Garnifex, how'd you make out?
Here, I found most of it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Now, we do need to look through what we've got here, but there is some more recommended on the next level down. This seems a little more complicated going by Florentine's notes. Probably not going to want to split up on this one. We're gonna want to stick together and not get lost.
Which is the next floor down? Like,
You're essentially on B1 right now. You would go down to B2. You don't have access to B3 through 5.
okay.
Do we have access to the parking garage? We need
No.
to pick up the Scooby van on the way out. The
No,
mystery
we have
machine.
to walk like suckers.
Guys, the thermal drill.
We gotta go get the guys. The thermal drill. Go get it. Sorry, Dan. I didn't
1
mean
second.
to talk over you.
There we go.
Oh God. I still can't believe none of us figured that out until you said it.
It's a fucking mouthful.
Yeah?
What is this?
Nothing.
There.
As you're do you head down to the next floor?
Yeah, Hana would kind of pile everything up on a cart and make sure it's nice and organized. And then yeah, let's go ahead and head down a floor. Unless y'all have something else you want to do on this floor still.
We just bring the books with us, right?
Yeah, taking them on the cart.
Then we do so.
Yeah, it's easy to do it. And as you go down, Hunhao, you realize between what you found on this, what you found on the ciphers, what Malkesh has found on ritual magic, and with a little help from what Carnifex found, that you can isolate which one of Florentine's notes have to do with rituals rituals to do with demons and rituals that involve Amboise' particular code speak.
So basically narrow it down to just something very specific in the next floor.
You wish you had a little bit more information about the demon fighting techniques because you feel you could pretty much get right there if you have it. But it shouldn't take too much of your time to search.
Okay. Well, after sort of putting that together on the elevator ride down, Anha would basically, as soon as it comes to a stop, grab the cart full of books and point the direction they need to go.
This floor is a bit different. It still has the sparse, slightly technological look, but rather than kind of doors, some of these rooms have almost double locking safe-like doors in front of them, and the presence of mage knights are more common, to the point you even see a few of them kind of off-duty just at little vestibules along the hallway doing some independent reading. And yes, it will take you a little bit of time to find out exactly where you're going. But while you're doing that, just because it's a little bit of that, if anybody would want to split off, now they would have the opportunity to.
I will.
Current effects. When you slip away, what do you do?
Just because I know I didn't get much from the... Well, I got up above. Just trying to tail, I guess, that information a bit further, find out as much as I can without having access to the actual floors. I guess would involve talking to more of the mage knights.
All right. You find an off-duty one. How do you approach this time?
Well, is he reading or?
He's reading, but he's also he looks like he's on break.
Okay.
He's chatting with another mage knight, kind of half reading, half talking.
Well, I guess, is there a free chair or is...
Yeah, no, this is almost like a larger sub room where all the hallways meet that kind of blows out, and there's a table with reading lamps in the middle of it.
Well, I guess it's time to use that charisma of his and just, like, sit down like he's taking a break himself, because why not? Basically, just try to, make small talk and bring it up naturally over the course of the conversation to try and not get too suspicious.
Give me a roll.
Okay. So that'd be charisma again. Knowing my luck, it's going to be horrible. 30.
No, that's the opposite of horrible. You chat with him, and the main thing you get is that they kind of make a few jokes about how they can't believe that you don't want to essentially read on your break. There's a little back and forth ribbing about the different branches, but once again, these are a bit higher ranked mage knights, and you are a bit higher ranked crusader. And in fact, it's not until pretty much one gets up and leaves that he pretty much says, all right, I need to go monitor a shipment transfer. And then he begins to walk down the hall.
Okay, I'm guessing that might be something I want to try and see, or...
If you want. Are you going to try to tail him?
You know what? Why not? And if I get caught, I could pretend to be lost, because I probably would get lost.
All right. Give me a dexterity-based check to kind of sneak through these hallways.
Okay. Of course, one of my lowest stats.
Can't talk your way through everything.
No, I can try, but not really. Oh god, 15. Clank,
All
clank,
right.
clank.
So here is
True
the
to
choice
form.
you're given. You can get close enough to see something, but you will draw some suspicion to yourself. Or you can kind of realize that this isn't going the way I wanted to and bail.
You know what? Go for broke. Go for broke. I'm gonna get close and try and have a peek.
You get close enough to see pretty much this mage knight open up a hidden door on the just like at the far end of one of the halls. And when you open up, you see a more maintenance style elevator with a few library workers and what look like large barrels forged from metal. They look like they can hook into machinery, and just out of the glint of your eye, you can see almost a silvery slosh through kind of one of the little windows in the side that let you see how full it is. And just as you're doing that, this mage knight catches you at the corner of his eye and just kind of motions to shut the door and starts making his way your way.
Again, I'm gonna do the. I guess try and talk my way out of it. Because I mean, right now, turning around and walking away would just be a bit more suspicious.
You don't have to roll that. He sees that you are allowed to be down here, and he kind of he gives you the gears about, you of all people should know better than this, and you know how this looks on, your branch. You get the feeling that he's not going to take you in or anything like that. He respects you enough not to kind of publicly embarrass you, but you have the feeling that he is definitely going to report this.
Oh yeah. I mean, what else can I do? I mean, if the positions were reversed, I'm pretty sure he would have done the same thing, and I would have given him about the same speech, but probably a little bit harsher. So.
Hunhow, Malkesh. Malkesh,
Yes.
what do you do while you're looking for this?
Well, if I'm looking for that, that's what I'm doing, am I not?
Oh, well, if you just want to look, then yeah, no, this is a pretty quick process if both you and Hunhow are looking. You find a document past one of those sealed doors that your amulet lets you through. And similar to the library in Grand Nadostrum, you see just a series of scrolls and loose paper under a protective casing. And Hunhow, you and Amboise kind of approach it, and then he goes, "This is half my shorthand and half something else." And Hunhow, you would recognize it as a very ancient Elven script.
The other half appears to be very, very old, but this is Elven.
And
Oof.
yes, I recognize this. This handwriting. I need to let the barking happen.
Just let the bark happen. Let the bark wash over you.
All right. No, I think this handwriting is Ariana's. I think this is the end result of what she compiled, what we worked on together, and she must not have took it away when she went back to the Elven. Well, took back to the skies. Let's get to work. We're going to have to work together here, Hunhow.
I just realized I was pressing the wrong button. That was not my push to talk at all.
All
Sorry
right,
about
recap.
that. Yeah, no, just Hunhow, after you were saying that she must have left it here before she went to the Elven Kingdoms, I said, so you think she finished it and left it here in the Empire?
It's possible she didn't make it easy for anybody to read. Well, anybody but an ancient elf or me.
Well, it's a good thing we've got both of those.
It should make it a little easier. I probably would have had to spend months on this learning your language, and and he kind of chuckles under his breath. And we've seen the books I'd have available.
Indeed. And months? You have a pretty high opinion of yourself. Hunhow kind of says with a little coy smile.
Oh, come on. I know some older Elven scripts. It's just fine. It may have taken longer than that.
I think we've found what we're... Wait a second. Where's the armored giant? How do we lose a Carnifex?
It's a slippery one. Also, I was kind of reading this book most of the time.
Hunhow just plants his face in his hands. I can't even be upset with you, Malkesh. I lost him too.
I mean, look at these drawings. They're really detailed.
Hunhow kind of leans in. Is that a big book on skeletons?
Yes.
Oh,
Slightly
okay.
more detailed than the book I got for Lissy, apparently.
Well, I'm sure you two will have a lot of... I'm sure you would
They'll
have a
let me
good
take
time.
it out of here.
Well...
Really heavy.
Well, we do have the cart if your arms get tired, but...
Well, yes, but I don't think they'll let us take it out the
Yes.
front door if it's being stored in the restricted stacks.
No, that is a fair point. Shame she's not here. I think you would have had a good time reading that together.
Well, yes.
Arter runs in through the door, just, I can't find Carnifex!
Neither can we. He's not in here. I have no idea how we lost a giant man in armor.
Well, I guess I'll keep looking then.
Wait, hold up. I think we found what we're looking for. Let's just go ahead and get this all together, and then we'll go find Carnifex and go pool our resources.
Excellent. You grab the papers and you start to look over them, and here's a question. Do you want to get... Because we are right at time, essentially. Do you want to get the explanation of what they say now, or at the start of next week?
I would say next week. That way we can indulge in it a little bit more. Take some time with it.
Excellent. Well, with that, our heroes have completed their library adventure where they fought the Grand Wizard Dewey Decimal,
Yeah.
conquered his halls, all while somewhere else, the rest of their allies got a dire warning about their sometimes enemies, sometimes ally. And that'll be everything. Have a good night, folks.
See it.
Good night, everybody, and remember to turn
Have a
in
good night.
this Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Adderjaeger.
9:30.
9:30. Now show up at 9. Be a half an hour early. We appreciate
For the pre-show.
promptness. Yep, the pre-show of a black screen. Good night.
Spam our chat.